Next up, we'll talk about swap. You're going to want to allocate some swap for any system that's running MongoDB. Now, for general operations, the allocated swap space is not going to be used that much. It's going to be used rather sparingly, in fact. However, if you do not allocate at least some swap space, and by some I mean several gigabytes usually for any modern system, you are going to run into a problem, and that problem is called the killer. So allocating some swap space is all about killer avoidance. You're not allocating the swap space so it can be used by MongoDB. You're allocating the swap space so that the kernel has some other option when it sees memory pressure and sees a high memory utilization other than killing the process with the highest amount of memory currently in use. And in most systems that's running MongoDB, the process with highest memory usage is going to be MongoDB. So you're essentially setting yourself up and setting your MongoDB process up for a scenario whereby if something happens on this system, it's pretty busy, RAM is a precious resource, MongoDB is humming along doing what it's supposed to do, and the kernel needs to allocate some memory for, I don't know, a heap allocation, or there's some other demand from a periodic maintenance or something like that. It notices that, hey, this MongoDB process is hogging all the RAM. I'm going to kill it. That's not the way things are supposed to work, and I've got nowhere else to go. I can't swap some of its data out into RAM or use swap space to get around this. And that's when it invokes the killer, which stands for, by the way, out of memory killer, in case that wasn't clear. So you want to avoid that. The kernel will literally just send a kill signal to your MongoDB process. It'll shut down and should shut down cleanly, but it's not a scenario you want to have. You've got no control over it, and it can happen at any time, essentially. It's a non-deterministic state. So allocating some swap avoids that entire problem and lets you manage the issue yourself. So if you were seeing a lot of swap usage, if there was some sort of, say, memory leak in MongoDB, something along those lines, you'd start to see a lot of swap usage, and you could log in there and see what was actually going on, rather than just having the kernel intervene and kill your MongoDB process out from under you. So definitely allocate some swap.